Emma, a blind seamstress, lived in a small village on the outskirts. Her story began in a childhood filled with hardships. At just 8 years old, her mother passed away in a traffic accident, leaving her to live with her elderly father, a poor carpenter. From a young age, Emma had to be independent, learning to navigate a world of darkness she could not see. Unlike other children, however, Emma never felt confined by her blindness. She had learned to perceive the world through sounds, smells, and the sensations in her hands. The villagers all pitied the blind girl, but little did they know Emma possessed a remarkable talent, the ability to feel fabrics and stitching with her skillful fingers. She could distinguish different types of fabric and their thickness simply by touch, and could create exquisite garments that no one believed a blind person could make. Yet Emma's life was far from easy. She constantly faced prejudice from those around her, who believed a blind person was incapable of creating anything valuable. Once she decided to craft a special garment to enter the town's master tailor competition. But before Emma could finish her creation, tragedy struck. A fire broke out in the workshop where she worked, destroying everything, including the garment she had poured her heart into for months. Emma did not give up. With an unyielding spirit, she resolved to recreate the perfect garment she had envisioned. However, there was something Emma did not realize. The garment contained a secret she inadvertently uncovered during her work. Hidden within a few torn sections of the fabric were strange symbols embroidered into the cloth, a mystery whose origins were unknown. This discovery marked the beginning of an unexpected journey for Emma. The secrets hidden in the garment were far more than about tailoring. They connected to a powerful family in the town, Mr. Victor's family, and shadowy forces concealed beneath the soft folds of the fabric. Emma couldn't shake the thought of the strange symbols on the fabric. They felt like a hidden message, a whisper from the past that only she could hear. After the fire, although the original garment was gone, Emma decided to continue her work. She had never been one to give up, but this time her task wasn't just sewing. She also had to decipher the mysterious symbols. Each night, while the rest of the village slept, Emma sat alone in her small room, under the dim glow of an oil lamp, turning the old fabric over and over in her hands. The symbols seemed like an ancient code that she was compelled to solve, even though no one in the village could help her. Unbeknownst to her, Emma's persistence had drawn the attention of certain individuals. A mysterious man named Ethan approached her one day. He claimed to be a researcher of history and culture and told her that the symbols she had found were tied to an ancient story, a forgotten legacy. But Emma wasn't quick to trust Ethan's words. She only wanted to focus on her work, finish the garment, and prove to everyone that someone like her, a blind seamstress, could achieve the extraordinary. Day by day, Emma came closer to completing the garment. She meticulously sewed each detail, carefully crafting every stitch. Yet the more she worked, the more she felt something strange. It was as though the symbols weren't random, but part of a larger puzzle she had yet to understand. Ethan continued to watch her, his intentions becoming more apparent with time. Emma grew wary of the man, but on a stormy night, while she was working, Ethan arrived unannounced at her home and convinced her to join him in uncovering the truth behind the symbols. Thus began a new chapter in Emma and Ethan's journey. Emma decided she would not only seek to finish the garment, but also delve into the secrets it held. She could not have imagined, however, that each step forward would bring new complications. As Emma and Ethan sought to decode the mystery, they found themselves facing dark forces determined to keep the truth about this legacy buried. These adversaries were not only powerful, but also capable of manipulating the people in the town. As Emma and Ethan pieced together crucial parts of the puzzle, they discovered that the garment itself was the key to unlocking a historical secret, one so significant that it had been deliberately hidden for centuries. Emma's story was no longer just a search for the truth. It had become a race against time. As the shadowy figures realized she was getting closer to uncovering the truth, they began to act. Strange phone calls, break-ins at her home, and veiled threats became part of the dangerous game she was unwittingly drawn into. Emma and Ethan became targets. Each time they approached a crucial clue, something sudden would happen to halt their progress. Yet nothing could extinguish Emma's determination. She refused to let fear dictate her actions or to bow to those who sought to suppress her. She was resolute in her quest to uncover the truth, not just for herself, but for those who had doubted her and believed a blind woman like Emma could never achieve anything of worth. One day, as they were nearing an important document that could provide insights into the mysterious symbols on the fabric, Emma and Ethan were discovered. A tense chase ensued. Unexpectedly, in their moment of desperation, an old friend of Emma's, Mark, a carpenter who had helped her through many difficult times, arrived just in time. Mark was more than just a reliable friend. He was the only one in the village who knew the deep secrets tied to the powerful family Emma and Ethan were up against, Mr. Victor's family. Mark revealed a shocking truth. The garment Emma was working on wasn't just a piece of clothing. It was part of an ancient ritual, one capable of altering the fate of the powerful family in the village. The people trying to stop Emma weren't random adversaries. They were the very leaders who sought to maintain their grip on power. With Mark's support, Emma and Ethan resolved to push forward with their investigation. But one pressing question loomed unanswered. What connection did the garment have to Emma? Why was she the only one who could unravel its secrets? The investigation carried out by Emma, Ethan, and Mark grew increasingly dangerous. After uncovering a crucial secret about the garment, they decided to follow up on several leads found in an ancient document. However, what they didn't anticipate was the terrifying event that unfolded shortly after they left an old library in town. That night, when the three returned to Emma's home, they found her entire room ransacked. Everything was overturned. Documents, fabric samples, and even the unfinished garment had vanished. For the first time, Emma felt the weight of real danger pressing down on her. She realized that she was no longer simply a blind seamstress. She had become a part of something much larger, a story she couldn't yet fully grasp. Ethan was the first to suggest that they were being watched and that those responsible for the attack wouldn't stop until they had the garment and the legacy it contained. Threats began to surface, and Emma saw her once peaceful life disintegrate day by day. People in the village, who had once been friendly, now looked at her with suspicion. In the days that followed, Emma, Ethan, and Mark continued searching for whatever clues remained. At the same time, Emma found herself facing a storm of rumors spreading through the village. People whispered about the garment she was sewing, the strangers who came to see her, and her increasingly unclear relationship with Ethan. More than once, Emma felt as though she was walking into a trap of her own making. One day at the market, a strange man approached her and said, "We've given you enough time. Don't make us take action." Emma didn't understand the meaning behind the threat, but she felt the walls closing in around her. That evening, during a heavy rainstorm, Emma heard unfamiliar footsteps outside her door. She rushed out to check, but found only an envelope placed at her doorstep. Inside was a handwritten note. "The garment is the key to unlocking the secrets of this powerful family. If you don't return it, everything will be lost forever." At that moment, Emma realized this wasn't just about a sewing competition. It was a fight for her freedom, her dignity, and her family's legacy. The situation grew even more dire when Emma uncovered a horrifying truth. By chance, she and Ethan discovered that Mark, her trusted friend, had a long-standing connection with those seeking to claim the garment. Mark had been using Emma all along, feeding information about her progress to their adversaries. Emma could hardly believe her ears when Mark admitted his betrayal. He confessed that he had done it for money, personal ambition, and the promises of a prestigious position from Mr. Victor's family. The revelation felt like a crushing blow to Emma's heart. Everything she had trusted and believed in now seemed like a carefully orchestrated lie. This betrayal left Emma questioning everyone around her. She no longer knew who was a friend and who was a foe. Although Ethan remained by her side, her trust in him was also shaken. She couldn't be sure if Ethan truly stood with her or if he too had hidden motives. In her state of confusion, Emma received yet another devastating piece of news. The garment she had painstakingly crafted, which she believed to hold the key to a great secret, had been stolen. But this time, it wasn't just the garment. Every document related to it was gone as well. Emma was in despair. She felt as though she had nothing left to hold on to, and all hope seemed lost. Ethan, despite lingering doubts about him, remained steadfast by her side. He insisted that they couldn't stop now, as abandoning this pursuit would mean they might never find another chance to uncover the truth. Together, Their determination drove them to piece together the remaining clues, drawing ever closer to the heart of Mr. Victor's family, the powerful dynasty harboring the secrets behind the legendary garment. Emma and Ethan had no choice but to face Mr. Victor's family directly. They were no longer just dealing with shadowy forces, but also battling the chaotic emotions within themselves. With each passing day, Emma felt danger creeping closer. Yet she also realized she couldn't give up this fight. Despite everything, Ethan remained the one person Emma could rely on. He was her only true ally on this perilous journey. Though doubt lingered, Emma recognized that Ethan was the only one who could help her resolve everything. The two began covertly infiltrating the powerful family's domain, carefully seeking access to hidden information. Every move had to be calculated, for the family's vast wealth was matched only by their influence over local authorities. Their protection wasn't merely built on riches, but reinforced through underhanded schemes and shadowy connections. One night, Emma and Ethan sneaked into a grand mansion on the outskirts of town, believed to house the answers to the mysteries surrounding the garment. This mansion was the residence of Mr. Victor's family, an ancient and influential lineage in the town. Nobody dared to challenge them, but Emma and Ethan had nothing left to lose. Once inside, things became even more complex. Emma could feel the tension in the air, as though someone was watching their every move. They navigated dark hallways, illuminated only by the faint flicker of old dim lights. Each step had to be light and deliberate. Deep in the basement, they stumbled upon a secret archive. The room contained not only critical documents, but also the missing garment Emma had worked so hard to create. Just as they uncovered these treasures, they were discovered. As Emma and Ethan tried to leave the room, a towering man blocked their path. He was a member of Mr. Victor's family, tasked with guarding the secret archive. A fierce confrontation ensued, but Emma knew this wasn't the time to fight. She had to stay calm and find a way out. Ethan fought valiantly, buying Emma enough time to escape. They fled the mansion under the cover of darkness, pursued relentlessly. But Emma understood this reprieve was temporary. She couldn't keep running forever. She needed to face the truth and unlock the garment's mysteries, the key to resolving everything. After narrowly escaping, they decided to confront Mark, who had betrayed Emma before. Emma resolved not to let Mark evade responsibility. Though she still felt the sting of his betrayal, she couldn't forget that he had once helped her during her most difficult moments. Still, Emma knew she couldn't let their past friendship cloud her judgment, especially when Mark had allied himself with those seeking to exploit the secrets she was trying to protect. Determined to unravel the mystery of the garment, Emma and Ethan continued their relentless search for the final clues. After days of investigation, they discovered an ancient book in the library of Mr. Victor's family. The book told the tale of a lost kingdom where special garments were more than just attire. They were powerful tools capable of altering the fate of an entire nation. Emma realized the garment was far from an ordinary fashion piece. It was the key to solving a centuries-old secret, one that Mr. Victor's family sought to guard fiercely. They intended to control this secret to preserve their power and wealth. The patterns on the fabric weren't random, they were instructions, guides on how to unlock the mystery. The more Emma understood, the more she felt the weight of an enormous responsibility. She couldn't let greedy forces exploit this secret. She had to act, even though danger was constantly looming. After uncovering the truth, Emma and Ethan decided they must confront Mr. Victor's family once more. They couldn't keep running. Armed with all the knowledge they had gathered, Emma devised a daring plan to overthrow those manipulating her world. But Emma wasn't just fighting for herself. She wanted to bring justice to those who had been oppressed and treated unfairly. The garment wasn't just a valuable artifact. It was a symbol of perseverance, courage, and hope. The final battle between Emma and Mr. Victor's family would determine the fate of her and those around her. But this confrontation wouldn't rely solely on physical strength. It would also be a test of wits, strategy, and willpower. Emma had to prove that kindness and determination could triumph over any dark force. Emma and Ethan prepared for the ultimate showdown. But this time, it wasn't just a physical confrontation. It was a mental battle between strong wills. Emma knew she had to face the darkest parts of herself, overcome her fears, and fight for what was right. Ethan became her anchor, reminding Emma of all she had achieved. He urged her to remember that her fight wasn't just for her own safety, but for the values she held dear. Together, they decided to rally the townsfolk, those who had witnessed Emma's struggles over the years, forming a united front to stand against Mr. Victor's family. Just then, shocking news arrived. Mark, someone Emma had once considered a close friend, had actively aided Mr. Victor's family. He was orchestrating their attacks and safeguarding the garment, fully aligning himself with the enemy. Emma was devastated to learn of Mark's betrayal. The man she had trusted and treated like a brother had turned against her. But despite her heartbreak, Emma knew she couldn't let her emotions dictate her actions. To defeat Mr. Victor's family, she needed to think rationally and strategically. At the same time, Emma uncovered a significant revelation. The garment wasn't merely a tool of power, but also held secrets tied to the origins of Mr. Victor's family. It was a gift painstakingly crafted by their ancestors centuries ago. At first, Emma struggled to grasp the importance of preserving it, but when she realized the garment had the potential to reshape the history of the entire nation, she understood the immense power in her hands. Now, Emma faced battles on multiple fronts, not just with Mr. Victor's family, but also with herself, her emotions, and the relationships she had once cherished. Ethan, though unwavering in his support, began to show signs of exhaustion and anxiety. They couldn't keep living in constant fear and uncertainty. It was time to act. But this action wouldn't merely be a clash between good and evil, it would be a war of conscience and sacrifice. After days of preparation, Emma and Ethan decided to execute their final attack plan on Mr. Victor's family's estate. They had gathered enough clues and now held a detailed plan to infiltrate the place where the garment and related documents were kept. Everything had to unfold quickly, precisely, and without error. However, soon after, people from the village, whom Emma had trusted, began to show signs of uncertainty. Some of them, threatened and lured by promises, betrayed Emma and aided Mr. Victor's family. Emma realized that not everyone could be relied upon during such crucial moments. That night, Emma and Ethan snuck into Mr. Victor's family's estate once again. But this time, they faced a heavy guard. A fierce battle broke out. Emma and Ethan fought not only their enemies, but also the emotional turmoil they were experiencing. As they neared the location where the garment was stored, Emma and Ethan were ambushed. One of Mr. Victor's family's close associates had discovered them. To protect Ethan, Emma sacrificed herself, leaping in to block a powerful strike meant for him. She was gravely injured, but just before losing consciousness, she caught a glimpse of the garment for the last time. Ethan, with unwavering resolve and love for Emma, charged into the battle with fierce determination. He refused to let Emma's sacrifice be in vain. Though wounded, he continued to fight, and with the help of their friends from the village, they managed to reclaim the garment and rescue Emma. But the price they paid was steep. While they won, the death of several friends who had sacrificed themselves for justice forced Emma to face a harsh truth. Not everyone could be saved, and sometimes sacrifice was the only way to protect what mattered most. Emma woke up in a hospital, her body battered with wounds, but her spirit stronger than ever. Ethan sat by her side, holding her hand, telling her that they had succeeded. Despite the pain and trauma, Emma realized that this was when she truly understood the value of sacrifice and courage. The garment was not just an artifact of power, it was a testament to the values for which people could lay down their lives to protect. In that moment, Emma knew that victory didn't just come from reclaiming what was lost, but from how we face adversity and find inner peace. Emma woke up in the cold hospital room, the wounds on her body causing excruciating pain. But when she saw Ethan sitting by her side, holding her hand tightly, her heart warmed. He had been with her throughout this difficult journey, helping her through the darkest moments. Ethan's eyes reflected his steadfastness and deep concern as he watched her wake up. Emma couldn't fully recall everything that happened during the final battle, but one thing was certain: she had won. She had not only reclaimed the garment, but also protected her freedom and the lives of those she loved. However, the cost was too great. Emma began to reflect on all that had happened. She remembered the early days when she was just a simple seamstress living in a small village, never imagining that her life would change so dramatically. She had once thought that a simple life was all she needed, but after facing unexpected challenges, Emma now understood that it was those hardships that had helped her grow and realize her own inner strength. Emma also began to understand an important truth. She couldn't continue living in pain and haunted by the past. She couldn't dwell on the wounds no matter how deep they were. She needed to move forward, for it was only by continuing to push ahead that she would find peace. Ethan looked at Emma, his eyes filled with understanding. He knew she was going through a tough time. However, Ethan also understood that Emma was strong, and she would overcome any challenge, just as she had done throughout the journey. Emma whispered, "Ethan, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't forget what happened." Ethan gently patted her hand. "Emma, let the past go. We've done everything we could. The future is ours. Let's start fresh." Emma decided she would no longer let the past haunt her. She was determined to regain her faith in life and continue moving forward. Even though the road ahead would still be filled with challenges, she felt a great responsibility, not only to herself but also to those who had sacrificed for her, those who had trusted and supported her throughout this difficult journey. The garment was no longer a tool of power. It had simply become a symbol of sacrifice and courage. Emma decided she would use it to create a charity fund, to help those who were poor and less fortunate, just as she had once been in her past. Ethan agreed with this decision, and together with Emma, they began to develop a long-term plan. They wanted to address the current issues, but they also wanted to leave a positive mark on the community. Emma and Ethan decided to open a tailoring shop, not only to earn a living, but also to provide jobs for those in difficult situations. This was their way of giving back all that they had received during their arduous journey. Though Emma had made up her mind to rebuild her life, Mr. Victor's family was not ready to give up. They continued to pursue Emma and Ethan, seeking to reclaim the garment to maintain their power and wealth. But this time, Emma and Ethan were ready. With the help of their friends in the village, they developed a safer and more strategic plan, one that was not just about fighting with strength, but also with intellect. They targeted the weaknesses of Mr. Victor's family, causing those behind the garment to start growing anxious. This confrontation was not only a physical battle, but also a battle of wits. An important conference was held, where Mr. Victor's family tried to convince Emma to return by making promises and offering temptations. But Emma was not easily fooled. She knew all too well the nature of these people and understood that their promises were mere tricks. In that tense meeting, Emma decided to confront Mr. Victor's family directly. She told them that the garment was not a tool of power, but a symbol of sacrifice and love. She asserted that a person's worth cannot be measured by power or wealth. Only kindness and goodness are the true values. Her words silenced the room. Some members of Mr. Victor's family began to doubt themselves. The dark forces they had pursued for so long suddenly seemed fragile. Finally, Emma and Ethan succeeded in overthrowing the power of Mr. Victor's family. The garment was returned to the community, and Emma decided that nothing was more important than freedom and justice. Mr. Victor's family had to pay for their crimes, but Emma did not want to see them as enemies. She understood that forgiveness was an important part of the healing process. Emma and Ethan began rebuilding their new life, developing the charity fund and the tailoring shop. They not only changed their own destinies, but also helped many others rise from hardship. The lesson that Emma learned from this journey was, only when you stay true to your conscience, no matter how many challenges you face, will you find your true strength. Kindness and respect for others are the only things we can carry with us throughout life. Emma's story came to an end, but the lessons of sacrifice, courage, and love would forever inspire all those who dared to stand up against injustice, even in the most difficult of circumstances. After a journey filled with hardships and challenges, Emma and Ethan finally found their path to peace and happiness. But their story doesn't end here. It is you, the ones following this story, who can become a part of the next journey. Emma's story is proof of the power of resilience, kindness, and unity, and your story, as well as ours, is still unfolding. If you feel inspired by this story, if the values of sacrifice, love, and justice touch your heart, join us. To not miss out on other inspiring stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Stories like these can only continue to grow with your support and companionship. Share this story with those you think may need it, and let the values of humanity, kindness, and resilience spread even further. In this way, we can create a strong community, always ready to help one another overcome difficulties and challenges. Thank you for being with us on this journey. Please continue to support us because our story, as well as yours, is not over. We still have much to explore, learn, and change. Let's continue to write new chapters with faith in the power of sharing. Click the subscribe button now, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss any inspiring stories in the future. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next stories. Wishing you enjoyable and inspiring moments as we create a strong community together.